So think about this. I went there in 19. You saw what happened in 20, right? I went there last year in November, and in a few weeks or a few days, you know what's going to happen. So I'll be there in November. Billy told me already.
You're like the reverse curse of the Bambino for Liverpool. Is that what you're saying?
I'm always welcome over there. Let's put it that way.
My guest today is a member of baseball royalty, a gent who's become a football obsessive, winner of 3 World Series, each in different roles as a player, shortstop and second baseman, essentially the Rodri of his team. Now, manager of the Boston Red Sox. Nothing brings him quite as much joy as his family, but slightly behind them comes the thrill of watching Liverpool Football Club at Anfield. I have spoken to a lot of people at the Red Sox who tell me he is, quote, obsessed, and here to discuss the leadership principles that transcend sport, learning from mistakes with humility, and all things honour. It's Red Sox manager. It's Mr. Alex Cora.
What's up, Raj? How you doing, man?
Oh, Alex, it is so great to be with you. Happy Virgil van Dijk Day.
Happy Virgil van Dijk Day. It's exciting. I started following the club in 2019, working for John, Tom, Mike, and Sam over here.
The Fenway Sports Group.
Yeah, Fenway Sports Group, and getting to meet Billy Hogan overseas. I went to Anfield in November 2019 to see Man City against them on a Sunday.
I was there. 3-1.
Yeah, I fell in love with that team, and obviously I have some insight. I get information that other people don't, and it's been fun to follow.
I want to talk about all of it with you because it is a remarkable story, but I do need to, in the spirit of full disclosure, tell you that your brother Alex, White Sox icon Joey Cora, he is my favourite baseball player of all time.
So, Raj, you know what? I was watching you guys, I think it was in 19 towards the end, and I noticed Joey's name tag. I was like, holy shoot, this is real. Talking to TC, Tom Karen, during spring training, we were talking about it. It's like, bro, you have no idea. I've been dying to talk to these people for a while because where my brother comes from, I saw it. And I never knew.
I moved to Chicago in 94. I used to go and watch that Frank Thomas, Robin Ventura, Ozzie Guillen White Sox team.
Yeah.
I used to go to the ballpark just to watch Joey hustle because he was a player who never seemed to take a moment of being a pro ball player for granted. And I love that tenacity.
Those were a fun team to watch. For everybody that talks about the Expos during the strike year, I thought we had a great team. I thought we were really good.
We were there. Didn't we almost have it all? Let's talk about you. You grew up in baseball country, Caguas, Puerto Rico, baseball family. As a child, you'd fall asleep on the press box floor as your dad, Jose Manuel Cora, filled his columns or scouted for the Rangers and the Padres. Was football, soccer, was it ever even a thing on your radar as a youth? Or was it all just Roberto Clemente, Orlando Cepeda?
No, it was only baseball. But in our country, there's 3 sports: politics, baseball, and boxing. That's kind of like how you grew up in Puerto Rico. And in our case, me and Joey, we had the perfect mentor. My dad, he was the founder and the president of our Little League chapter in Caguas. So when we had breakfast, we talked baseball. For lunch, it was the same thing. For dinner, was the same thing. Spend days in the Little League field. I was lucky enough that he worked with the media and he was covering teams in Caguas in our Winter Bowl League. Cal Ripken, Robbie Alomar, Hall of Famers, and I was around them. And also, your favorite player is my favorite person. Joey Cora, for me, means a lot. I lost my dad when I was 13, so he was my mentor, best friend, and obviously my brother. But I cannot say he was my favorite player. My favorite player was Roberto Alomar. But having Joey around and following his footsteps, the reason I'm talking to you right now is because of him.
When he started that season, was it the 94 season, 95 season, and he hit so many triples? I remember the Chicago Sun-Times asking him what the secret was, and he just said, your brother just said, I've just started to wear Michael Jordan cologne. That was Joey Cora in every single way. So soccer, this is a baseline. It didn't even ever penetrate the Alex Cora sporting consciousness as a kid.
Actually, there was a good soccer program in Caguas, but we just play baseball. Our ultimate goal was to be big leaguers, to be honest with you. You know how they ask kids, hey, what do you want to be? I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a cop. I want to be a firefighter. Alex, what do you want to be? A big league player. That's what I want to be. And thank God I was able to accomplish that. And then to be able to do this after my playing career has been amazing.
That's the baseline for this story, this Liverpool quote obsession that is to come. You did become a remarkable baseball player. You became a pathfinder as a manager. You became the first Puerto Rico manager to win the World Series, adjusting that Boston Red Sox team to the loss of David Ortiz in an almost Arne Slotian fashion. But I want to talk about your first encounters with football. You've said it came in large part from that connection through the owners Fenway Sports Group, led by John Henry and Tom Werner, who also happen to own Liverpool Football Club. So let's pick up the story, Alex. What was the moment you got into the football? What was the turning point? What was the hook, the inspiration?
Just that venue in Anfield. Just going to that venue, it's like going to Fenway Park. If you are a sports fan and you go to Fenway, you fall in love with Fenway and everything that goes on. We went there, and obviously the treatment is different. You know, you have to wear a suit and tie and all that stuff, and you're up there, you know.
Director's box for Alex Cora.
It's unreal. What people don't know, actually, my first game was the day before. It was Crystal Palace against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Christian Pulisic scored that day.
Yes. So I watched that one. The next day, we went to Liverpool with Tom, and then Linda and John met us over there. Big fan of Pep Guardiola from afar. Big fan of him. It's interesting because I know what I do for a living, right? And I have won a World Series champion as a manager. But watching him from the bench, I was like, oh my God, that's Pep. I was like starstruck. This guy is the man. But I wasn't able to meet him. But going back to the question, very similar to how we feel about baseball back home in Puerto Rico. Same thing in that place. From the moment you get to Anfield, you're walking around, you see the history of the club, and then for 90 minutes, it's nonstop. Like they're behind them regardless. I fell in love with the sport too. The precision of the players is so perfect. We were talking about it. We had coaches' dinner, and they were asking me, Alex, how you like it so much? I like, listen, as baseball players, we use our arm, right? Like if I want to turn to the play, I'm at third base. I got to throw second. I throw it, and I might throw it away. These guys are using their feet, and they make passes so precise. I think TV doesn't make justice to the sport. You have to be there to see how good these athletes are. I love the passion. Obviously, we have a connection through the business side of it, right? I start following, man. And so think about this, Raj. I went there in 19. You saw what happened in 20, right? I went there last year in November, and in a few weeks or a few days, you know what's going to happen. So I'll be there in November. Billy told me already, so it'll be awesome.
You're like the reverse curse of the Bambino for Liverpool. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I'm always welcome over there. Let's put it that way.
So you've started to talk about what it was. You went to one game. What was it that led to the obsession? What is the sport to you? How would you describe it? Is it a hobby? Is it a diversion? Is it an obsession? Is it just a separate, pure fan experience to your professional sporting life?
The last one. It disconnects me from this madness. There's matches now, right, at 8:30 in the morning on Saturdays or Sundays, right? So I get to Fenway early, and instead of watching a baseball game or digging in on scouting reports, right, I'm having breakfast and watching the match. And just watching matches with Billy and with Sam Kennedy, our CEO here in Boston. And these people, they don't relax. They live and die with every pass, every move, every score. I talk to Tom and Mike a lot about what's going on. And it's a different perspective. But for me, as a fan, obviously in 2020, when I got suspended, all that stuff, and I was home, I was watching. I still remember against Atletico Madrid, right, in the Champions League. They were up 2-0, I want to say, and Atletico came back, and in extra time, they lost. And that one, I was like, man, you're suffering this. You are suffering this. You need to stop. But we love it. Our kids, Xander and Isander, they know a few guys. They know who Mo is, and it's been awesome, man. I really like it, and I'm glad that in a few weeks, it should be a special day for Liverpool and for Fenway Sports Group.
What are Liverpool to you, to the Red Sox? Is it like a brother? Is it like a distant cousin that you invite to the wedding, but you don't actually expect to come or get a present from? How does it exist? When Liverpool signed Mo and Big Virg, you're like, damn, I'm going to have to reinforce my relievers on a budget next season. Or does it not work like that?
So it's a running joke. And I learned a lot this past November. So we spent Thanksgiving at Liverpool. I took the kids and Angelica and Billy hosted us. I was able to go to the academy and talk to people about the whole experience, learn a lot too. So here in America, whenever Mo or Virgil signs, they don't care about the Red Sox. John and Tom, they don't care about the Red Sox. On the other side of the pond, when we signed Gary Crochet or Alex Bregman, it's like, they don't care about Liverpool, So it goes back and forth. Raj, honestly, this is not because they're my owners. They own the Red Sox. They do care, and they're winners. They have a way of doing their business right, but at the end of the day, they won 4 here. They're about to win their second Premier League, and they've been very successful.
Sports, as you know, is just such an emotional, non-rational, knee-jerk thing. And they won the title, Liverpool, for the first time in forever, and then didn't, had a tough season. And then people on social media were like, FSG, you're destroying me club. I remember reading it and being like, oh my God, I wish they'd destroy my club. Like they've destroyed Liverpool, because God, it must be lovely to win things. But can we talk about the owners? Because you do sit in a fascinating position, Alex. You do have, as you say, the ultimate Premier League connect. John Henry, for instance, a very enigmatic man, doesn't love his interviews. His journey, remarkable, made his money investing in soybean future trading, plays guitar in progressive rock bands, a student of the philosopher Carl Jung, became majority owner in 2002. Red Sox have won the 4 World Series, as you say, since then. Ian Graham, the famous data scientist who built the data models that powered the resurgence of Liverpool for FSG. In his book, Graham says, if there was a World Cup of silence, John Henry would get to the semi-finals at least. Can you describe what John Henry's like and how you interact?
A very smart person, right? He's surrounded by a lot of people that understands him. That's the most important thing, that they know that he's paying attention from wherever he's at. And he'll be very quiet about everything that is going on, but he knows everything that is going on. He knows what happened yesterday in the 7th inning, and he knows already what's going on at the training facility in Liverpool. He really pays attention. He's passionate about it. He cares about the people that works for him, and he demands excellence from us. He's very precise, very exact. He wants to run everything perfectly, right? I hate to say he's an interesting guy, because the John that I get, is very different than the John that people see. Going back and forth with Liverpool and the Red Sox, both franchises, both fan bases get the same guy. He's the same guy. Very quiet. You see him here at Fenway in every game in his suite, just watching. He loves baseball. He's a baseball historian. It's a great conversation. You go out to dinner and he goes back to when he bought teams and when he owned the Marlins, and he knows about the Yankees, and he knows the history of the game. I'm very happy that he gave me a chance to manage in November of 2017. He opened the doors again after my suspension in 2020, and obviously gave me the extension this past summer. So I appreciate him for a lot of things. And, he's a great man. He is a great man.
There was a lovely interaction you had earlier this year. John Henry's wife, Linda, posted a picture on Insta of him smoking a cigar. And I think everyone lost their mind, saying it was a sign that you'd completed the signing of free agent third baseman Alex Bregman. But when you were asked about it, I believe the baseball term is that you bunted. You deadpanned that John Henry was actually protesting Mo Salah's non-penalty call in the 95th minute of the derby against Everton.
I try to use both, and you got to be very savvy here with the media. You have to be very careful, but honestly, the picture speaks for itself, right? People were screaming for FSG to spend money, to get the big free agents. We signed Chapman. We traded for Crochet. We signed Bueller. And during our conversations about Bregman, and this is with Mike Gordon, when you guys decided to sign Virgil back in the day, you needed a great player, but a great leader, right? You needed that. And it turned out to be this amazing signing, right? This guy has been worth every penny or every pound. He plays every day. He plays every minute. He conducts himself with class. I kept telling him, I said, hey, man, the closest thing here to Virgil is Alex. Alex is a great player, but he's a great leader. You'll see, you'll see, you'll see. And then we got him, man. Very excited about Alex being with us. All he knows is playing in October and winning October. And we needed a person like that, a player like that. And I'm glad that we ended up finishing with him.
I'm a White Sox fan and an Everton fan. Alex, so I don't know anything about October and I don't know very much about winning. I love the description of Virgil as like a Dutch Alex Bregman. I've always looked at Virgil, who I like very much as a human being. That leader, he is transcendent. He's almost like a Dutch Jason Varitek.
Yes, 100%. And had the pleasure to meet him in November and talk to him. Very humble man, obviously a freak athlete, but just see him at the complex talking to everybody. It's not only the players, the way he treats the people that really matters, the people that grind on a daily basis, the staff, right? The clubbies, the people that, they wash uniforms and, the social media team and all that. He treat them with class, and that means a lot. When the head guy, because, Arne, he is the guy, right? And Klopp was the guy, but the player, the one that everybody looks up to, treats others same way, it means a lot. It creates this culture of respect. It creates this environment that I want to go to work. I want to be there as early as possible because it's a fun place to be around. But it starts with that guy, man. He interacts with everybody. That caught my attention.
We've had Steve Kerr on, Alex, and he talked about how when he watches football, he's also a Liverpool fan, that he constantly is thinking basketball, space, vision, passing. When you're watching football, what do you see? Do you translate it to baseball in your head? The shots kind of become at-bats, or is it utterly separate?
It's a lot different than basketball, right? I think basketball and football are very similar. When we talk about space, the only thing for us defensively, especially in the infield, you have to create spaces. You cannot have the shortstop and the third baseman very close because then the space to the left of the shortstop is going to be a big one. That's the only thing that I can relate as far as like tactics and all that. The one thing that is very similar is a multicultural sport, similar to football. You got Rico over there, and you got Nunez, and you got Van Dijk, and you got Robertson. You got guys from all over the place, and you have to make sure it works together. It's a challenge, and it happens with us. You try to avoid the cliques, right? The Latinos and the Americans, and as the manager of the team, you try to make sure everybody works together. We speak one language, and it's baseball. I think they speak one language, and it's football, right? When they're on the pitch or when they're on the baseball field, they will work together. They will. But what we do before is very important. We have to make sure we're in the same page. Actually, Virgil was in awe. They know a little bit of baseball, but they don't understand how it goes. He asked me, how many games do you guys play? I know it's a lot. I'm like, yeah, man, it's 162. He's like, oh, that's crazy. I say, no. You know what's crazy? What you guys do. You guys are playing for 4 cups or 4 trophies, and then you have to play international football on 8 months, 10 months?
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is crazy. But that part, it's very similar to us, the grind.
I think FIFA would love the footballers to play a 162 game season.
3 times a week for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Wait till they find out about double headers, Alex. Then their eyes are really going to light up. Who's your favourite player to watch and why?
Van Dijk is the one. Van Dijk is a guy that when we start watching and just the way he goes about his business and the way he defends, and there's no panic with him. No panic. You know who grown on me? People right now don't know if he stays or he goes, whatever. Trent. I think Trent, for how much people criticize him, right? The way he changes defense into offense is kind of like this fast break offense. He makes passes that nobody else can. And they transition from defense, boom, right there, boom. Long pass, perfect pass, get it to Mo. Mo get in the middle, and then Jota will be there and they score. But he's really good, man.
Who's the trend of Major League Baseball?
Ooh, the trend of Major League Baseball. Transition from defense to offense is hard. If we talk about Van Dijk, a presence, very respected, and he's a superstar. I can say it's Aaron Judge.
Wow.
Because when you play them, we all know who he is, but he doesn't act like that. What he does for that franchise in that clubhouse is very similar. They got a bunch of superstars or whatever, but they know who he is. And that's the guy we follow. So for me, Judge is very similar to Van Dijk from afar.
What do you see when you watch Mo Salah?
First of all, a physical freak, just so strong. And that's something that I didn't know about the sport, how physical it is, from, like I said, on TV, you see it, whatever, but you got to be physical to do the things that Mo does. This season, I hate comparing guys. I hate comparing players, but what he has done is very LeBron James-like. I can score, but I can make my teammates better, a lot better. And that's what he's done. The assists and the goals has been once in a lifetime season. He kills you with kindness too. He's always smiling and this and that. You see it on Instagram and always smiling, whatever. But he's a tough son of a on the pitch, he is.
If Mo Salah had been born in Caguas, Puerto Rico, do you see the raw skills for him to join the 30-30 club?
Oh, shoot. You imagine that guy, man. You know what? If we would have a Mo Salah, we will probably be playing football instead of playing baseball. That's the reality of it. I wish we had somebody like that, man. I love baseball, but football is becoming my favorite sport. My kids, they like it. They play. They're playing. One is a goalie. In their league, they don't have positions, but obviously there's a goalie, and they just run around, and they like it. At the house, all they wear is football kits. They have everybody, from Man City to Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Argentina, Colombia, it doesn't matter. That's all they wear at the house. It's amazing.
You wrote something beautiful. You said to see my kids enjoy Liverpool this week is one of the highlights of my life. I think everyone can relate to that. I did hear the seven, your twins, that they would like to be Premier League footballers. If you had the choice between them being in MLB or Premier League, which would you choose, Alex?
Oof. It'd be great if they can make it to the Premier League. That'd be sick. That'd be amazing. We have an idea how MLB works on both sides as a player and as a manager. Hey, I'll tell you something. So when we went, it was the week of Real Madrid and Man City. They love watching Real Madrid. Mbappé is their guy. I told Billy Hogan, I say, man, they're in between here. They know that we have to pull for Liverpool, but they love Real Madrid. And when the game started, they start singing "You Never Walk Alone," and I look, and they started singing. I was like, "Oh shoot, this is awesome!" And then we score, and they went nuts. Mbappe missed the penalty kick. They were in it. I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go." It's a once in a lifetime experience that we've been able to do it twice, and we're gonna continue to do it. I would love actually to spend some time over there and for them to play a little bit, spend 10 days to actually play, to see how it goes. I'm intrigued by that. Just the passion you guys have for that sport is the same as we have for baseball. But I would love them to have that experience.
The way you describe it is how I felt when I first was on the right field bleachers at Fenway. I mean, it is very, very pure. It is very, very precious. Can I talk for a minute about the managers? Because you have gone over and you do meet them. The first one, you met that Teutonic Care Bear, Jurgen Klopp. Back then, he was still wearing his glasses. He was in that era. You meet a lot of sports leaders in America, Alex. How does Jurgen Klopp compare?
It's just a presence. At that time, obviously, things were going great. I didn't get into the in and outs of the daily experience as a manager over there, but just watching and talking to him, it's a big personality. You can tell that he demanded a lot from their players, But at the same time, for how big of a personality he was, he always cared for his players. And you could tell, right? A lot of hugs, a lot of one-on-one conversations. When they came out of the pitch, right, they took him out. It wasn't just a high five, whatever. It was a big hug. Or whenever they went in for a substitution, kind of like a kiss and go, So you could tell that he has a good heart. That caught my attention from him. But big personality, huge personality.
I've actually been on the receiving end of a Klopp hug and it was life-changing. It almost made my hair grow back just from one touch. But question from a GFOP, Jim Tragakis from Richmond, Virginia, who writes, lifelong Red Sox fan. I know that top coaches often talk to others in different sports to cross-pollinate the community of football versus the stop-start of baseball, the degree of team play versus the individual battle of pitcher versus batter. Is there a single learning that you've brought from the pitch to the diamond, Alex?
Teamwork, to be honest with you. Baseball is a team sport, but at the end of the day, if you're not selfish, you're not going to be successful. And I explain myself. Yeah, we are the Red Sox, and we got 26 guys. At the end of the day, the biggest battle in sports is that guy on the mound against that guy at the plate. So you have to be very selfish in that aspect. You have to be. But at the same time, you got to be a team player, because what you do as a hitter is going to dictate what you do as an offense. But the individual battles that happens at the pitch, because, yeah, we see everybody working at the same time. The back line has to move at the same time, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of individual battles that take place at the pitch. You're going to dominate the middle. You have to dominate defensively. You have to make sure every pass is a certain way for the offense to click. So one thing I learned, for how much we praise it's a team sport and they have to work together and all of that, you have to be very selfish in a good way. And that's something I have taken from football to baseball.
Jurgen Klopp's gone, but the transformation from him to Arne Slot's been honestly nothing short of remarkable. Your new Dutch bald dad, who's made a point of continuing much of the previous, but everything feels a little more dialed in. The pace, the intensity, the control, even the sideline gesticulation. You march to a 20th title. It's been as smooth as Arne Slot's forehead. I've had Slot on this show. Seems to me to be the rare manager who's actually egoless. I know you've spent time with him. How do you view his continuity of leadership? It's almost selfless continuity of leadership from afar.
He's been great. I spent like 30 minutes talking to him when I went to the complex. I don't want to say exactly for what happened here from 17 to 18, but very similar. You know, you had this group that was really, really good. I think the expectations were different. People going into the season for Liverpool didn't expect this. I think the only people that actually expected this was the group, right? It was Arne and the group. They believed they had a good team, that making a few adjustments were going to take them, I don't want to say to the top, because it's very difficult over there. I'm in awe to the fact that if you finish fourth, it's actually a great season because you make it to the Champions League. You guys have so many battles in between the standings that it's crazy, right? But for us in 18 was a few adjustments and letting the players be themselves. Keep doing what you're doing. We're going to add or subtract something that we might agree that is going to make us better, or we feel like if we take this out of the equation, it's going to push it to be great. There was one match. Was it the Man City one that the time of possession was like 70% for Man City and 30% for Liverpool?
Yeah.
And they just grinded through it. That's different. It used to be go, 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 and see what happens. This year, it's still fun to watch the way they go about their offense and all that. But there were certain games that they downshifted. And I think they needed that in a sense. This guy, like you said, unselfish, very humble, gives credit to everybody, is a big personality too, you know, because when he talks in the media, it's black and white. There's no gray area. He tells it exactly how he was. It's a perfect way of leadership. Be humble, put your head down and keep working.
I actually asked Soberslite if he misses the passion of Jurgen Klopp on the sidelines. Klopp was like a German Earl Weaver. He said, with Arne Slot, I see a man with a plan. And that plan is working. And I've thought about that all bloody season. But Tom Werner sent me a photo of you, him, and Arne Slot in the locker room. And Tom looks like a proud dad with his two bald sons.
That's the cool thing about being the manager of the Red Sox, that you have access to things that others don't. Just to be able to talk to them and be around them and learn from them is something that I don't take for granted. What Tom, John, Mike, Sam, Billy means to me and what they've done with me throughout the years, man, it's something that I will always be very thankful, because they've been amazing for me.
Can I ask you this? Jurgen Klopp was a Liverpool icon. But what Arne Slot's done, and remember, Alex, I'm an Everton fan here, but I still think it's one of the most remarkable acts of transformational leadership I've seen, just coming into the Premier League. Pretty well the same players as Klopp. They added one, a bit player, Chiesa. but he's then just cruised to a league title. This is a tough question. You understand sporting leadership. What percentage of this win is Arne Slot? What percentage can Jurgen Klopp see as his own? Or does any part of the Arne Slot achievement actually make Klopp seem like he should have won more?
Tough one to answer, and I'll give you my polite answer. The culture that they had, the culture that was installed, the culture that grew throughout the years, the ups and downs of that group. There's something very important in sports, in an era that free agency in our case, and obviously over there, the way it works, to have the same group together for a long period of time is very hard. It's very hard. And they've been able to do that to an extent. So the players have done an amazing job controlling what they can control, and it's to prepare and to go out there and give the best. The system is a system, but they adjust and they know. Jurgen did an amazing job with the group. Arne has done an outstanding job understanding who the group is. I think that was the first assignment, right? Like, know your group, who they are, what it's all about. And then from there, you can add your magic powder. Boom, boom, boom. We do this, we do that. We're going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be fantastic.
I love that framing, the culture and the system. That kind of is the dividing, the Jurgen Klopp culture, the Arne Slot system. One quick question about Boston. World Cup 2026 coming imminently. The iconic Gillette Stadium is going to host 7 games. Fans around the world are going to be pouring into your town, probably going to sleep off the hangovers on Boston Common. How do you imagine the tournament will change the profile of the game in the city of Boston and the nation?
They're about to find out what football is. Like we talk about back home, baseball, politics, and boxing, but now football is becoming a sport, youth sport. Like we have kids that they rather go play football on weekends than playing basketball or baseball because of the action of the game. What Messi did in the last one for Latin countries, like, wow, this is amazing. And I think the passion is going to transform the sport. They've been talking about this for a while here, right, with the national team, that the next one is the next one. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. You know what, Raj? No. Until they really live an event like this, it's similar to the WBC, the World Baseball Classic. I tell you why. In 2017, I was the GM of Team Puerto Rico in the WBC. That was the team that they dyed their hair blonde. We finished runner-ups to Team USA. But the way we played the game, the way our team went about their business, it was energetic. It was with passion. And everybody that watched that tournament remembers the 17 Puerto Rican team. It's going to have the same effect. When people here in America see the passion of fan bases of Argentina, Brazil, the Netherlands, England, all that, they see it here. I think finally people are going to understand that, this is a fun sport. This is a great sport. And that's when I believe football in America is going to take off.
Alex, I love what you have just said. I want to bottle that and just spread that far and wide. Last question for you. The year's 2025. Liverpool look set to win the Premier League. Your Boston Red Sox, well, if you've got anything to say about it, will win the World Series. You've won multiple World Series, so you know this. How different is it to celebrate the title as a fan rather than a player? Is a part of a Liverpool title that you actually enjoy more because it's less like the grind and the suffering and more just the uncut pure ecstasy? The kind of fandom you appreciate as a kid?
Well, Rush, we've been suffering for a month. It's been a grind the last month. They're actually not playing that great, but it's a lot different. It's a lot different. I can tell you a story from the 2018 one. We won in LA October 28th, 2018. We got the trophy. We fly to Boston. The parade is October 31st. We had a great day. On my way home, I'm listening to sports radio. Boom, they're talking about free agency and the players that we were going to lose. I was like, forget this, bro. Like, come on, man. Let us enjoy it. Let us enjoy it. That's life here in Boston. That's life with the Red Sox. Hey, man, if that's the worst part of winning a World Series, you know what? Let them talk about us all the time, and we'll win it. We'll win it. To host that trophy, that'll be amazing. Hopefully we can do it this year.
Oh, Alex Cora. FSG, get out me club. You're ruining me club. I wish you double victory cigars. I really do. It's been amazing talking to you. I've loved every second. To you, to your twins. I'm going to get them an Everton deal imminently. See the name Cora on the back of a Premier League jersey.
That'll be great.
To the season ahead. Big love to you, man.
Thank you, Rush. Appreciate it, man.
Courage.